Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to episode 2 of Dwarf Fortress. Last time, we set up and embarked. That's basically all we did. This is Scourchingwound, so let's look at what we got. I actually have no idea. I haven't looked at it yet. You only get this menu once, so we're both gonna learn together. Oh boy. Now this was supposedly a marsh. Snow cover. Well, it is a cold marsh, I suppose, so I forgot about that. Snow covered. The ground is covered in snow. Apparently there's stuff growing here. There looks like there's lots of trees. So wood's not going to be an issue until we cut down all of them. What's more of an issue... What the fuck is it? Ice floor. Okay, there's ice on the ground. We could dig out the ice, probably. Can we? No. We cannot dig it out because it's just on the floor. But there is plenty of snow. As you can see, we have all the animals set up. And there's our dwarves. Now, we need to figure out what we're going to do. First and foremost, we got high wood trees. There's a lot of trees. More trees than I thought. So I'm not sure where I want to set up. Where I want to set up what we're doing. Before we do that, let's open up. Well, I guess you guys can't see this, but I'm gonna open up DF hack, and we're gonna take care of some basic things. Because we do not want our dwarves doing terrible things. So we're going to do things like set auto labor on so that we don't have like 12 hunters. So our dwarves are not stupidly fishing in things they should not be. Or hunting when they shouldn't be. We do want to set them to mine, but we don't want 1,000 hunters, because what this game will do, for reasons that don't make sense, is they will, you'll see this later if we get the glitch where dwarves just constantly pick up picks for no reason. We're also going to turn on things to sort of, we're going to turn on things to speed up our initial setup, because this is really boring otherwise, and I don't want to have 10 episodes like the last one. I want to like get down to business and actually like do things. So we're going to turn on Fast Dwarf. What Fast Dwarf does is basically just speeds up your dwarves and makes everything go really quickly. And this will, again, make it so we're not sitting here for 5 episodes while we do nothing. Now, I'm trying to think about where I want to set up the things like the depot, so we can get trade, and set up things like our staircase. I'm thinking just setting the staircase right here. Like maybe just put the staircase right here and dig down, and then we'll just build a wall around it. But I'm thinking a staircase would probably be better over here. We cut down all these trees, so let's do that. Let's just cut down the trees. We should probably do that, but let's just cut down all of these trees. So we can set up some stockpiles. Speaking of stockpiles, I'm going to set up a... Well, actually, wait for them to cut down the trees first. So as you can see, they cut down things really quickly. Alright, set up a refuse stockpile, which is our most important stockpile. It's going to be the fullest all the time. That's why it's so big. We definitely don't need as big of a corpse stockpile, but still set one up anyway. Let's cut these trees down too. Let's get rid of those. Let's dig down. So, downstairs. And I guess we'll set the staircase like here. And then we can build around it. So, dig that. Actually, let's build the depot in advance. So, I guess we'll build the depot like right there. The dwarves will have an easy way to get to it. I probably didn't need to bring all that wood. We are going to set them to build up downstairs. Because in this game, for some weird-ass reason, the dwarves will dig downstairs without any way to go up, or dig upstairs without any way to go down, so you need to connect them. Now, I set it so we have, like, 10 levels. Like, 10 levels under each, So one of the things this game does is that each level has, like... Oh, good. We already found the stone. That's good. So each level has different things on it. There's like 5 different levels. I set each one to have 10 in between them. Actually, what kind of stuff do we got here? Sandy clay, silty clay, sandy loam. So dirt, dirt. I think that's dirt. Black sand, that's sand. We may find more of it. We'll see. We're gonna dig all the way down. As deep as we can go. Basically, without hitting stone, because stone's a pain in the ass to dig out. Anyway, so we're gonna put our stockpiles on this level. Because we can. We also need a lot of them, so might as well dig out the entire level. Now, what you don't want to do, let's dig that out. Okay, so we are at least one level below. So what you don't want to do is, what the game doesn't tell you, is every tree has roots. So you see these little branch things like over here? These are roots. And you go up, there's a tree. If you cut down this tree, these roots disappear. So what you might do, for example, is when we cut down the trees that are like here, there's now a hole in the ground right here. So if I dug this out, like right here, if I dug this, what ended up happening is this tile right here would disappear. So basically what it is the way they do ground is there's every tile here consists of like a wall or like a 1 Z level thing. If you go up a Z level, what is put on top of it is considered like a floor that can go on top of it. Or in this case, a tree. You dig the tree out, now there's no floor, so if I dug out the 1 Z level beneath, it just creates a hole. And if you're not smart or careful, and if I dug this out and say I put a wall like here, and I dug this out, enemies could just, you know, jump down the hole and into my base, which would be terrible. And we don't want to do that, so you gotta be real careful about that. I've learned that lesson the hard way, and Dwarf Fortress is nothing if not full of hard lessons. Okay, so they dug all that out pretty good. Cavern... Clay, cavern forest, sandy clay. What I was hoping was for fire clay, but it doesn't look like we're going to be that lucky. And that kind of sucks. Kind of. Because it means we can't make as much stuff out of, can't make the stuff that I wanted. Because in this game, if you make stuff out of clay, it becomes stone or earthenware, and you need to glaze it with tin. If we don't have a good source of tin on the map, we basically are, we're SOL, essentially. We don't want to be SOL, so on one hand, you can make other crafts out of it, but we can't make things like pots or jugs or things that contain liquid, essentially. And the whole reason to do something like that is so you contain, liquids. Because part of this game is the easy acquisition of materials to grow things. So you might ask me, what am I doing right now? Well, these are all going to be stockpiles. And you might say, that's a lot of stockpiles. Well, we brought a lot of stuff. The other thing is that I like to dig everything out in advance, so I don't have to do it all later. We're still going to have to do it later, but, easier way to do it. Easier to do it now. This might actually not be enough stockpiles. I'm thinking it's going to be, but probably isn't. Also, I kind of like symmetry, so I like everything to be nice and square when possible. And you're going to see that. I usually design all of my fortresses around these kind of square designs. It's not the most efficient way to do it. Well, it is probably the most efficient. It's just not very pretty. But I'm not worried about pretty. I'm worried about, getting everything inside and not starving to death. And as soon as we start getting migrants, we're going to have to worry about that. And I kind of want to get everything inside as quick as possible, so we can wall off the outside and essentially seal ourselves in. Actually, I did that wrong. I need to go all the way over. Yeah, like that. But also, it makes it really easy to just set this up. But like I said, the big thing right now is we have enough stockpiles, so we can drag everything inside. And then once we drag it all inside, we can seal ourselves off from the outside and protect ourselves against sieges. Some people like to use their militaries to protect against things. They like to use their military as an offensive force. I don't. In fact, I find I find putting my dwarves in armor and sending them outside is basically a death sentence. And if at all possible, I usually like to wait out. Any sieges. Now this tends to keep us from finding things, you know, like trading, but I mean, if the goblins show up to murder us, you know, not much trading is going to be done anyway. So, another weird thing. I don't know why the dwarves dig out in such weird patterns. I think they just dig and then immediately check to see whatever's next to them and go in a random direction. Because they just don't... No one digs in, like, a logical manner. They sort of, like, dig holes all over the place and leave things. Oh, that was quick. Alright, so that was pretty quick. Now we get to set stockpiles up. Let's hope this isn't as boring as I think it is. Now, normally I only set, like, one wood stockpile, but I'm gonna set more this time. And the reason is that, well, quite frankly, we're gonna have a lot of wood on this map. And wood's sort of an important resource. In fact, I'm gonna fill probably the outside with nothing but wood here. And the reason wood's important is because you use it for things like ash. You can all use it to make fuel in an emergency. You can make barrels out of it. You can basically make anything out of it. Wood's very useful as a very low-quality material. It's also good in disasters. So if anything, like, if things go belly up, good. We're going to build an animal stockpile, though nothing's going to be in it anytime soon. Should I put food over here? No, we're not going to put food over here. We'll put food over here, probably closer to the... Probably put food over here, closer to the, stairs. And we're going to need a lot of food. 3 is going to be too much for now, but that will fill up as we start brewing and cooking things. We are going to need a lot of furniture stockpiles, because furniture is big, and it counts everything from bins to barrels to tables and everything else, so that's going to fill up. We need a lot of those. Let's see, what else do we need? So most of the other ones can be one-off, like, so once we get bins, we're not going to need a cloth stockpile, or more than one cloth stockpile, a leather stockpile, because all of that's going to go in a bin. Same with ammo and sheets. In fact, normally I wouldn't even build an entire sheet. I'd build like half of one. But, in fact, the sheets one's going to be empty for a very long time. Let's do weapon. Actually, no, we're going to do it just so I don't forget. Because if I do... Oh yeah, finished goods. Finished goods should probably not be all the way over here, because it means that dwarves have to walk all the way over here to fill it. But you know what? I'm not sure I care. No, I do care. I really don't want it all the way over here. I really don't want to cause a clusterfuck this early. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I can either, like, remove or... You know what? No, you know what? We'll just set up another food stockpile. No, we don't really need that many food stockpiles. We should probably just set up another furniture stockpile over here, and we'll set the rest over here. So, weapons can go over here. As can armor. Armor can go over here. We also need a finished goods stockpile. And we're going to need stone stockpiles. We're going to need gem stockpiles. I think we're going to put the gems up here. Now, probably never going to need a stockpile this big for gems, but you never know. So, we'll just build that out. Real quick, though, we're going to turn off bins. And the reason we're going to turn off bins is because there's a glitch in this game where if... How do I put this? So, your dwarves, when they go to use a bin, are the only ones considered using a bin. And only they can use it. At one time. Only one dwarf can use a bin at a time. So if you do something like tell multiple stockpiles to, like, encrust gems or use them for something, your dwarves will go, okay, and so they'll look, if all of them are in one bin, one dwarf will go, oh, I need a gem, so he'll walk over to the bin and reach his hand in. Meanwhile, another dwarf is in another workshop, and he'll say something along the lines of, you know, he'll be like, oh, I need a gem, and so he'll go to dig one out, except he'll look around, and the bin that is being used is not applicable, so he can't use that bin. So what does he do? He says, oh, no more gems, and, you know, basically can't do anything. He just says, oh, there's no gems left. Guess even if there are gems left, he just goes, oh, no more gems, can't do anything, better leave. Better just give up the entire task. And as you might imagine, that's really annoying. We want to avoid that as best we can. So, the only one that really causes an issue with is gems that I've found. All the other ones can basically be dealt with. But given the amount of gems you normally get, I would say it's not a huge deal. Gems are, again, like the only ones I've ever had a real issue with. So let's get rid of all of these. Also, I didn't dig this out because I'm a moron. That would have been a problem. Okay, everything's dug out. These are going to be all our workshops. Really quick, we're going to go into orders, and we're going to change a few things because, yes, gather things from outside, gather vermin remains, claim other death items. We don't need to claim used ammunition right now. Workshop orders. Okay, do not loom. Well, auto loom all thread. No, we don't want to auto loom. Don't auto collect webs because they'll be stupid and do other things. Yeah. Okay, so that's all good. Basically, I just want to turn off auto webs and the like because your dwarves will do stupid things like when you find the caverns. They'll do things like decide to just wander around the caverns and collect webs, despite the fact that the caverns are full of dangerous things that want to murder you. So, you know, they'll just let, you know, trolls and shit into your fort. So they're like, oh, the forts are open. Alright, as you can see, the dwarves are all moving very quickly because we're running at 400 FPS. Which is good, plus fast dwarf zones. So they're moving way quicker, but that's to just get all of this stuff inside really quickly. And we brought a whole lot of stuff. We should also probably start building all the stuff we need. So let's build kitchens. So now we gotta build all our workshops, with some exceptions. Now we are gonna use wood because apparently we're like drowning in wood. So I usually build them in threes. And that's just because threes tend to fit in a 10 by 10 area. But it also happens to work out. It also happens to sort of work out. So we got the kitchens, got the stills, got the butcher shop. Now the butcher shop then requires a tanner's shop to use the skins to make leather. Let's see. Usually we use I put a farmer's workshop here, but I'm going to put a fishery just so we have one. Although we really don't need a fishery, but that's whatever. We're going to put I suppose the carpenter's workshops can go next, and they can go, like, right here. Generally, I try to put them in order of, like, usefulness. So, the more useful stuff are all in one area, although we won't need them that way for a while. Once we get a manager, this isn't going to be useful, but I like having everything kind of centralized and not spread out. I know some people design it where they have, like, stockpiles right next to their workshops, but I just don't like doing it that way. And most of that is because I like everything to be really organized and centralized so I can find it if I need it and figure out where everything is. I don't like looking over a whole bunch of Z levels to figure out where I put everything. Alright, so now I need to do a clother's shop. Make clothing. We aren't going to do that right now. We're going to need to do other things. Alright, so clother's shop. Let's do a... What's my leather working? Oh, leather works are first. Let's do a leather working shop. We're using a lot of the wood we brought with us, but that's okay, because I mean, we won't have to haul it inside. Alright, use looms. Most of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory about what it does. Do need jewelers' workshops. Need craftsdwarfs' workshops. I think we're going to put the craftsdwarfs' workshops over here. Because this is where all the stuff's going to be that we're going to need it for. I'm a little uncertain if I want to do that. But we're going to. Basically what I don't want is I don't want everything, like, hard to find. But I have a feeling that's how it's going to be. So we need ashery. Ashery makes lye. Lye makes soap. And we do need, this is what we need the blocks for. We also need barrels and buckets. So both are really good. We'll use put a dyer shop here. Also need barrels and buckets. Dyer shop is going to be for when we start making dye. Dye is a slightly involved process, but okay, we need a soap maker's workshop, and most of this stuff is just so we can get it done now, as opposed to later. Let's make a bow. We're never going to use the bower's workshop, but in fact, for a very long time, I never used it. But the reason we're building one is because in case of our guys getting a random strange mood, you know, what we don't want is him going crazy and doing something, you know, like, I need a bower's workshop, and going crazy because I just never built one. We do need a jeweler's workshop. We need farmer's workshops. Let's build the jeweler's workshop, I guess, here. Right next to the crafter's workshops, which is probably the best. Now, I'm not building these out of stone, because stone, honestly, is what I really want to work with right now. I don't really want to build the farmer's workshops here, but that's where they're going, so if I was smart, I would have put these by the looms, but I'm dumb, so this is where they're going. Alright, put all that there. Now, there's certain things I'm not building right now, so I'm not building the metalsmith's forge, and I'm not going to build the smelter, glass furnace, or kiln, because we're going to start digging and looking for lava, and then once we get lava, once we get that, we'll be able to move. Basically, once we get lava, we will use that as a power source, so we won't actually need to use, you know, coke. Now, we could use coke. In fact, I've used that for a very long time, but lava is just cheaper and easier because you don't have to constantly maintain a stockpile full of coke and charcoal. Actually, we need to dig out another room, another layer of stockpiles. Which we don't really need a full layer, but I'm gonna do it anyway. As a, I guess, a precursor? No, not a precursor. I guess you could say it's preemptive. I don't know. I guess that's not really what I'm saying. Essentially, do it now so we don't have to do it later. We're just gonna take care of it as opposed to waiting all along. And the reason I'm doing that is twofold. One, I need to build farms, so we can get all of our farms up and running. We start growing shit, which is good because we want to grow things so we don't starve. Because right now, you know, even though it's spring, there's snow all over the ground, so we're not going to be able to really worry about, you know, surface plants the way I would like. But we won't really need to, because all of this is sand and dirt. And the good thing about sand and dirt is once we pierce the caverns, there are all manner of cavernous, you know, the plants that grow underground. Namely, all the kinds of things we have seeds for, but that's okay, because they will grow wild all over this place. So they will begin to grow all over the ground over here. Actually, that reminds me, oh, it's already thawing out. That's good. We already need to do one more thing before all of our animals starve. We're going to set a pasture. And this is so our grazing animals that we brought will survive. Now, we're going to move them inside later, so they don't run away constantly at the first sighting of anything. In fact, we'll probably move them in here when we breach the first cavern level. And the reason for that is so we can, so they can just live in here safely and not worry about, you know, everything. So let's set up a couple farm plots. 3 is probably way too many, honestly, with farm plots this size, but we can grow things all year round if we want to. And yeah, I think 3 is going to be enough. We probably won't need more than 3. We'll put all the forges and stuff over here probably when we get to them. I think that's all good, at least for now. Well, we also need to dig out bedrooms, which I guess I'll stick on the floor above. I do have to be careful that I don't dig out into areas where there are trees, but it looks like we can tell where those are. So we won't really need to worry about that, I don't think. So basically, if I just don't dig over here, I should be okay. But I don't like that idea. I might... The problem with digging into stone is that you end up with a whole lot of rocks everywhere, and I'm not sure we're prepared for that. So normally I would have dug the area out here, but it looks like we're going to need those for more stockpiles moving forward, so I guess we'll dig these out. And I guess we'll use these temporarily until, you know, until we, dig out something better. Which will be good, I think, hopefully. And then, so that's like 4. So, we'll have a dining room, a mass bedroom, dormitory area. We'll have a doctor's workshop here, or not a doctor's workshop, a hospital. Doctor's workshop. Oh god. That's really what it stands out to. And then I guess this will be our... So this will be our tomb area, where we just throw all the dead dwarves into a mass tomb. Yeah, that'll probably be good. Or, actually, now that I think about it, we could put the offices there first, and then we can dig out a tomb later. Because we really don't need a tomb starting off, hopefully. In which case... I usually dig out these 5x5, again, because they fit. I usually dig these out, because they fit exactly in the space. So, actually, no, not that. I also like things to be kind of, I guess, opposite. So, like, you know, they sort of fit in an area where, how do I put this? I guess they sort of, like, they're mirror each other and everything's real nice and symmetrical. Actually... I think I always get this wrong. Is it symmetry if they are exactly the same, or if it's symmetry if they're opposite over a dividing line? So, like, is it symmetry because this is flipped over and they'll be opposites, or is it this up here symmetry because they are the same? I assume that actually in this case it wouldn't matter because these are both going to be, if you flip these over, they're the same anyway. So I guess it's the same thing. I always wondered about that. I was wondering if it has to be the same or if it has to be, like, opposite to be symmetry. I suppose it just has to... I'm pretty sure it just has to be flipped over, and then they're symmetrical. They're both the same. I'll have to look that up. Okay, enough digging. So they're going to dig all that out, haul all that stuff inside. Wow, this is going... This episode's a little long, but I want to set everything up, because now we actually have, like, stuff done. We can actually start moving... You know, moving forward, and now that we've built everything, got all the farms set up, and hauling everything inside, yeah. Oh, we have idle dwarves? Did we haul everything inside already? Nope, we didn't. Okay, still got stuff to haul inside. So we'll work with that. I may do bees moving forward and things like that. Okay, there's a lot of stuff left to be hauled in, but I guess they're taking breaks. Dwarves like taking breaks. In fact, a lot of dwarves end up being lazy bastards. No job. We have no job, even though there's all this stuff to haul. Would you run out of space? No, you didn't run out of space, so get back to hauling. Alright, so... Next time, well, we need to build beds. That's another thing you need wood for. You can't build beds out of anything else. You can only build beds out of wood. Also, should probably build bins to stick some of this stuff in. So let's build bins really quickly. I don't like building wood bins because I like using wood for other things. We're going to build beds. And the reason we're going to build beds is pretty obvious, I think. Now, we do need 11 beds exactly to start our dormitory off. We also need doors. Since we have so much wood, normally I would do this out of stone, but since we have so much wood, we'll use doors first. And we'll set up our first offices, and as you can see, they move quickly. But once we do that, once we build all the doors and beds and things, we'll set up the offices, and then I'll be able to just hit, you know, management, and we'll be good from there. As you can see, the dwarves are not sleeping on the floor because we've taken too long. But that's okay. They'll have beds pretty soon. We already got beds being built, so we'll go from there. Anyway, I'm going to cut this episode here. Next time, we're going to hopefully settle this up, finish all the, because we'll be done all the boring shit. Once we get the offices set up, we'll be able to haul the rest of it inside and get to building. And once we get to building, then we can start digging into the ground and searching around and looking for metals and doing all the fun stuff that Dwarf Fortress has to offer. But I think we've basically we got over the hump of the boring as hell setup of the fortress interior to begin with. So, I'll see y'all later.